All right, so this exercise, we're touching base, and I want you to take a strong stance and push against me, and then I equalize his pressure. So you want your partner to push a little bit harder. If I'm not grounded, I'm going to come up, and you just keep asking harder again, and you resist. So now my body's got muscle tension, and what I want to do is I want to put my relaxation on a guide it back down to his feet, and then empty that tension out, and just go from high pressure and with the low pressure straight under the base. So you push in hard, not down, but into me. Yep, okay. Okay, push harder, harder, harder. Okay, now I've got to lean into him to support it. I feel the base, and I relax and release it. So I go from a high pressure internal environment to an empty environment, and you repeat. You push in harder, 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 harder. Okay, so once I've gotten to that point where I can empty the tension in my body, relax under his base and pop his base, then harder, harder, harder. Once I've got him floating, I can add a little bit of energy into it. More, harder, harder. And once you've emptied, got your partner floating, put a bit of gin in, then we move into enlivening a pattern. So he pushes in harder, give me more, put me in a state of tension. I empty that out. Now the pattern that I want, I think about the pattern, and I release it. So being a bit careful about that line, but the pattern that I put in was to hop. So I got a partial result, and then I amplify that result, and I'm not putting. Our normal model is to release on a pattern and energize it with life force to create it. Now I'm releasing on the pattern and just using release to generate his synchronicity in his unconscious, in his energy field. And then you can build up the vacuum and the release. And each time you build pressure inside me, each time you do it, you want to look at the reactions inside the tension in your body after you've released, empty your body out completely, and then once your body's completely empty and you can float them, then move on to the next stage of putting gin to bounce them, and then instead of putting gin, put a pattern and release on the pattern. And then the gin from his body and the environment naturally goes into it, but the quality is purely releasing. The final product at the end is you're just touching and releasing and emptying out into an effect that you want to happen. And so you need to go through these stages to get to the point where that's going to work quickly. Let's say I just released on the effect from the beginning. If an absolute beginner, it would take a long time to get there. It could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and maybe they never reach that point. Where if you break it down to these stages, then you get there relatively quickly. All right, have a play.